So after 3 defeats in a row, Pompey will be looking to bounce back at home. What's in store under the lights tonight as we say welcome to Wrexham.
Oh, and the keeper saved it. Left-footed this time. It's a free header and it's a goal. Birmingham City have their breakthrough. And towards that near post, helped on, and it's in. Birmingham City have doubled their lead. In towards the far post, and Birmingham have a third. Slong Ho, and the FS deflected in. John Mousinho's Portsmouth travel back down to the south coast with plenty of regrets.
The scoreline tells you everything you need to know. The next couple of days are going to be about finding solutions and making sure we're best prepared for the game on Wednesday.
Yeah, a huge game tonight, and coming up on a specially extended matchday show, Michael Eisner joins us for an exclusive interview on the balcony. As we face Wrexham for the first time in 5 decades, we take a trip down memory lane. Pompey women on the charge. Highlights of a huge 3 points for the Blues. John Mousinho gives us his thoughts ahead of a crucial game in PO4. And coverage of Pompey's Remembrance commemorations as Fratton Park falls silent to honour the fallen. Plus we'll have your starting 11 and all the latest news and analysis ahead of that 8 PM GMT kickoff right here on Pompey Plus. So hello, good evening. My name is George Wedlake and it's great to have you with us wherever you're watching in the world. If you are watching on social media or YouTube though, please note your coverage ends in just less than an hour's time. So if you want to stick around for the duration, head over to the Pompey website, pick up a match pass, but coverage availability will depend on your region as usual. And with me tonight we have the two Pauls, Robinson and Hardiman. How are we doing, guys?
Good evening, George. All fine.
Good stuff. So we're not going to dwell on it too much, what happened on Saturday, Paul. You'll be pleased to know, but you've had a few days to think about it because I know you'd have given it some thought. Where did it go wrong for Pompey? Because in the context of how things have been going this season, it was quite an uncharacteristic performance.
Yeah, it was, and John obviously, you could see how annoyed he was on the touchline. So I'm looking for, we want to put that to bed straight away. And like I said after the game on Saturday, the best thing about it, Robbo, you'll know as well as anyone, we've got a game straight away, so you can put it away, we can move on and we can get a good result tonight, and that's what we'll be looking for.
Paul, it is a long season, isn't it, the Championship? Every team is going to have a bad day at the office from time to time. That's just football, that's just the Championship. But what matters is how you deal with it.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to move on quick, haven't you, in this league? Like you say, the games come thick and fast, and thankfully for Portsmouth to be back here at Fratton Park, I think probably last night's result against Millwall probably puts it in a better perspective from Portsmouth's point of view. But no matter that, they'll be really disappointed with that performance and looking to put it right here. Yeah,
Hars, you mentioned it there. You think it's a good thing. You think it's a positive that the team is straight back out there again a few days later. Not enough time to dwell on it. But is it also a kind of disadvantage in a way because it's still going to be there perhaps mentally, or is this just a chance to just get rid of that altogether?
No, it's definitely there mentally. You go to bed thinking about it, you wake up in the morning thinking about it, and it doesn't go away until that whistle blows in a minute, and you'll be, in that change room now. Those players will be thinking, all right, we can't let the same happen. We started really poorly. We almost gave a goal away in 54 seconds on Saturday. So, we've got to start sharp. And there's no better place. The fans will be behind us for sure. We start bright. We start with that little, we talk about intensity all the time, but we need that tonight. And, yes, put that result. First whistle, it's gone. We're on to the next game.
From a player's perspective in that kind of game, obviously you haven't hit the standards that you've set yourself. You haven't quite done that. As a team, it hasn't gone well for you. What do you do then between that game and now? What do you do? What do you think about? What's the process?
Yeah, I think everyone handles it in different ways. For me personally, the first thing I wanted to do was get back out on the training pitch, get back out there moving, start that process towards putting things right. The next thing, like you say, I'm sure that they had a real thorough debrief about it. I'm sure that the lads had left with their thoughts on the coach. It'd have been a very quiet coach journey on the way back, wouldn't it? As everyone's digesting that and be disappointed with that. But like I say, the first thing I want to do, get back out on that training pitch. The next thing is look to get out there tonight. I want to get in that warm-ups, feel the atmosphere, get that game going again, and put that game behind me as quick as I possibly can.
No beating around the bush, it is 3 losses in a row. Do Pompey come into this with much added pressure? If so, how much?
It is, but you're going to have good spells and bad spells throughout the season. And this time last season, you see how we started the season off. It wasn't great. This season we started it off well. You can see from the table as we drop down in there in a minute. But when you look at it, the good thing is we're still above Southampton, which is a great thing for the fans. And we're still out of that relegation zone. But we always know that the teams below us there. Look, Sheffield Wednesday, you would say, are cut adrift, and they're almost certain to go down. It's a big ask for them. However, Norwich, big club, got aspirations of climbing the league and getting into the playoffs. I would think Sheffield United. You already know that Chris Wilder's already lining his January signings up, so they'll be better after Christmas. He's just got to get through till then. So those 2 clubs will start to climb. Southampton will have a new manager in soon. They'll start to get better. Oxford above us, Blackburn. Blackburn going last night to Bristol City and beating them was a massive result. That just goes to show how competitive this year the table is.
Yeah, you mentioned last season where we were. We were rock bottom of the table, just 1 win on the board and 9 points. So there is definitely progress that has been made. But you've got to sustain it, haven't you? You've got to keep going in that right direction.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the way I look at it is like last season we brought a lot of players in January. I think we're still going to have to do that, although we felt the squad was strong enough. You look at the sort of comparison between the 2 clubs here, and you've got 3 wins for us, 4 wins for them. It's almost identical, and they've spent millions.
Yeah, Robbo, looking at today's opposition, Wrexham, they're going to be coming here with some confidence. Their last result, nobody quite expected it, to see off Coventry 3-2, but I mean, they did a great job, didn't they?
Yeah, great job. Some second half performance, that wasn't it? Obviously, a Kiefer Moore hat-trick. And like you say, that kind of feel at the Wrexham Stadium the other night is similar to how it can be here at Fratton Park. Probably similar to that Middlesbrough game where Middlesbrough came top of the league, hadn't been beaten yet, and Portsmouth turned them over. And similar for Wrexham on Friday night there. You can feel the atmosphere, you can feel that intensity. I think that, sort of going back to Ards' point as well, I did always feel that this second season might be a little bit of a trickier one in a way, because similar to Wrexham, you come up, you've got that sort of, that novelty value, that real, every game is excitement, and that building and the feeling, the whole stadium's with you. That second season, everyone starts to feel comfortable at the level, and sometimes it can feel a little bit harder. The results are a little bit harder to come by. However, I think that we saw last year, every time that Portsmouth came back here and needed a result, John seemed to have the lads up for it, and they turned in the performance that got them that.
Yeah, so we just discussed the pressure on the players. Talking of John Mousinho, he discussed in the week during his press conference the pressure he feels going into every game. Let's have a quick listen to what he had to say.
Maybe 4 games I can remember in my Portsmouth career where probably going into the game in the week the pressure isn't quite there. 2 when we'd already won the league in League One, and 2 last year when we secured our status in the Championship. By the time the game kicked off, the pressure's still immense because we want to win every game. But apart from that, every single match, every single time that you set foot on the football pitch, or I stand in the technical area, or I prepare for a game, I find that there's a huge amount of pressure. Yeah, I see it as a massively pressurised job because of what I expect of myself and what I expect of our team every single day. So every single game, I feel the world's pressure, world supply of pressure on my shoulders, and that's what I like about the job, and I think that's what people like about football.
So Hards, that's exactly what you want to hear from your head coach, isn't it?
Yeah, look, when you're in that technical area, if you're a coach or an assistant coach, you feel for the players, you feel for the fans, and you feel for your families, because it affects everyone. It's a real tough ask when you're there and you want to win the games. And John's been brilliant, let's be honest. Since he's come to this club, he hasn't had, a real bad spell. So touch wood, that continues and we turn it around tonight. But you do feel that pressure, players do. But I always remember Dennis Smith saying to me when I was at Sunderland, I was ill and I wanted to play in the game. And he said, get yourself home. He said, you've just got yourself to worry about. He said, I've got all these other so-and-sos to worry about. And he's right. You do, as a coach, you've got everybody. You've got the kitchen staff, you've got the ticket staff, everybody to worry about, because their jobs are in line, on the line as well as his.
So what did you make of John Mousinho's words there about feeling pressure at every game?
Yeah, I think there is this pressure to win, even as players, isn't it? You've got, high standards of yourself, you demand from yourself, demand from your teammates, and what you want to achieve as well. And pressure comes as part of the job. It's a privilege, really, isn't it? It's a pressure to win football games, send the fans home happy. It's a great privilege, really. I was looking at John there as well. He still looks all right, doesn't he? You know, some managers say, "Oh, I'm stressed," or this. No, I'm not stressed. It's fine. And you look at him and think, "Not sure I believe that." He still looks. He looks really well, and he looks quite calm, and he looks quite comfortable with the pressure.
Yeah, we'll have to try and find out what that skincare routine is, won't we?
Well, that pressure, you know, it could go one of two ways. You can deal with it really well, or lots of people struggle with it. And, you know, I've seen players, and you would have seen players in the changing room being sick before a game. You know, they're that nervous. And even senior players, I'm not talking about young kids that are just making their debuts, I'm talking about senior players, would be sick every single game. They're that nervous.
Well, okay, so we're going to dive into the team news in just a moment, but let's hear more from John Mousinho now. We also asked him, started off by sort of saying about the pressure that we touched on a second ago, but also how you balance writing off a performance like last Saturday, but also take lessons from it as well.
Yeah, I don't write anything off. I think that's the most important thing. We're definitely not brushing anything under the carpet, and I think you can go through games, you can go through fixtures and look at losses and think, okay, things are fairly positive off the back of that, and you know, there's not a huge amount we can take, and Saturday wasn't one of those. There's plenty that we need to address, make sure that we get better at, and go again Wednesday. I think we had an honest approach to this morning's meeting, watched large parts of the game back, and had a chat about what we think we could do better, and why we ended up doing certain things, and it was an interesting, I think, mixture of obviously you know, me taking full responsibility for whatever we produced in terms of you know, team selection, tactics, and more importantly how it actually allowed the boys to go out there with that mindset and that mentality, and what I want the boys to do as well is take that accountability for themselves and make sure that there are certain things that we think we're crystal clear on that we do go and execute. And it's always good to have the opportunity to bounce back, and always good to have the opportunity to bounce back at home as well, and that's the most important thing, and that's what we need to see on Wednesday. So far this season, prior to Friday night, probably hadn't quite hit the straps, and you know, probably would have wanted to have a few more points on the board, particularly after the disappointing cup loss to Cardiff. But yeah, Friday night I thought they were superb and hit form at obviously the right time for them, and I think the right time for us as well. Much rather, I think for us, player side that's in form and player side that's got players all over the pitch that were firing. I thought they were excellent, fully deserved to beat Coventry, and I think that'll make it a very good tie on Wednesday, and a really exciting one. So you've got one side that have gone and beaten the league leaders on Friday night and will be sort of a champion at the bit, and another side who have been beaten handily at the weekend and need to be champion at the bit even more because of that. We put a huge amount of pressure on ourselves for every single game anyway, so the pressure's immense. Every single game that we play, I think if you ever go into a game, particularly a league game with something on it, and you don't feel that pressure, then there's a problem. So it will be the same as I felt at the weekend and the previous games before that. Obviously the situation going into this is different. If we'd have won all three of those games going into this, I would have felt exactly the same amount of pressure going into the Wrexham game as I do tomorrow.
So the teams are in. The headline, 7 changes for Pompey. Conor Ogilvie, Knight, Luke LaRue, Murphy, Devlin, Chaplin and Bishop all come into the starting lineup, while Williams, Matthews, Pack, Swift, Min Hyuk Yang and Kirk drop to the bench, and Mark Kosnowski, who started last Saturday, isn't in the squad. Paul, talk us through what we're looking at there.
Well, we're having a big debate on the on the table here at the moment about it. We've got two teams. If we in that bottom right-hand corner it says 4-2-3-1. Now, if it's a 4-2-3-1, we're looking at probably Poole, Knight, Boat and Ogilvie being the back four. The two midfielders, LaRue and Dazal. And then you've got Devlin, Chaplin and Murphy as a three, with Bishop playing up top. So that's that team. That's what we think it might be. But there is an alternative where we could be playing 3 centre-backs. You know, you could have Knight, Poole and Boat as 3 centre-backs, Devlin and Ogilvie as the 2 wing-backs, LaRue and Dazal centre midfields, and then you've got Chaplin, Bishop and Murphy up front.
Yeah, so quite a few combinations. Starting with, if it was a back four, you could have Paul, like we've seen him play right back this season already, so that could be it there. But then if you're playing the 3 up top, Chaplin and Devlin, they both could be a number 10. We know Terry Devlin can pretty much play anywhere, so different combinations could be had here. Yeah,
the one thing that's in my head at the moment is that the fans have been crying out for Conor to play in the 10. So I'm thinking that it could still be the 4-2-3-1 with Devlin playing on that right side and almost doubling up as a fullback, with Poole just tucking in a little bit. So it being almost a lopsided sort of back four, back five, if you like. So it's going to be interesting. We just had the conversation, Robbo and I. When you do the warm up, you know, as a coach, you'll take him out and you'll work as a back three or a back four, don't you? And I remember doing it with him. But it was, you know, you don't want to give anything away in the warm up to the opponent.
So there's not much happening over our shoulder.
We're not going to find out until we kick off.
So Josh Murphy starts for the first time since the South Coast derby. That's going to look good for Pompey fans, isn't it, seeing him start again?
Yeah, that's right. I think it'll give him a real buzz to see him back on the team sheet. They've missed him really, haven't they? That sort of Murphy-Bishop partnership. And I think probably the weekend, maybe he just thought that 3 games in a week for Josh would be a bit much, so therefore they probably saved him till tonight, get him back on the team sheet, give the crowd a lift and ready to, you know, start the kick-off tonight with a real atmosphere in place.
Let's discuss Marlon Papp, because obviously he had a great pre-season. He was injured for the first few weeks of the champion. And hang on a minute, I believe. Yeah, there is no backup one.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. So, yeah, I mean, Marlon dropping out of the team today, that could be because he's played every minute since he's come back, you know, after the Southampton game. That could be something that'll help him. But, you know, knowing Marlon, he'll want to be in the team for sure. I can't quite understand why he's been left out, but it could be that he's got a slight niggle. You know, never know with Marlon. He'll play on and on and on. So he's a tough lad. I would like to think that he's been left out for just a little rest, and we'll see him come on in the second half.
And Min Hyuk Yang's another one of those players. He's been, well, I mean, there were those 3 games in a row where he scored 2, he got an assist, and you thought, hang on, we've got a player here, he's going to be here week in, week out. But obviously Pompey haven't been entirely at the races since then, so he's one of the casualties that unfortunately has to make way tonight.
Yeah, has to make way, and like we said, Murphy's popular figure, got real good pedigree, and just on the back of what he did for Portsmouth last season, you knew sooner or later, maybe as soon as there was a bad run of form or something went against him, Murphy was going to get back in the team. I think Min Hyuk done ever so well during that period, obviously scored some important goals, and you know, I think he's done his chances no harm at all. But it just always feels, you feel it as a player, don't you? You just think, you know, when there's a player with that pedigree behind her, you know sooner or later it's going to come back in.
I think as well that, you know, we'll see Josh Murphy for 60, 75 minutes maximum. I think he'll come off after that, ready to then play again on Saturday, what I would expect.
Yeah, let's talk about Andre Dazal as well, because that's one player who should literally just been there all season. He hasn't given up his place for a single second, does he?
No, and he's done well. He's been steady. So, you know, it's about, you know, when you lose, you're always putting yourself in jeopardy. We've talked about this before. When you lose and you're in that team, you put yourself in jeopardy to be dropped out of the team. But he's been that steady. He's a 6, he's a 7 out of 10 every single week. And it's just finding the right partner. Last year it was Potts. This year Marlon's probably played alongside him as well as Swifty. You know, but Swifty's been in and out of the team. He's out again tonight. So, I think John's still searching at the moment for his best team, and it hasn't helped with the injuries that he's had as well in the squad.
Yeah, Freddie Potts, I wonder what's happening to him at the moment. I haven't heard his name for a while. But talking about maybe a 3 at the back, a 4 at the back, what does that give you if you go for 3 tonight instead of the usual 4? How does that change things up?
I think the biggest factor would be the Kiefer Moore factor. Obviously, good height, good size, really good in the air, real threat. And maybe John's looked at it and thought, do you know what, I want a back 3 there, 3 solid centre halves, compete in our box, win that battle in our box. Because what you know about Wrexham is they'll put balls in that penalty area and make you defend it. And they want players in there ready to head it out, ready to compete with that battle and ready to do that job. Because, you know, they have got good size all over the pitch, and maybe he just looked at his team and thought that's the one thing they could be lacking in and they could be sort of vulnerable at tonight.
Yeah, the other bit for me is like those long balls. When you see Kiefer Moore play, he's very good at just getting up and just nodding those balls into the channels. So that's another reason why I'm wondering if we're going to play 3 centre-backs. So the centre one can go up and challenge him, but when he nods those down, you know, those second balls are the dangerous ones, aren't they? So, you know, your 2 other centre-halves either side of that can then go and challenge for those.
Yeah, just one more on that back line then. If it is a potential 3, we're looking at Josh Knight, Regan Paul and Iban Bowett. We've got Hayden Matthews, who started last week, on the bench today. I mean, replacing Conor Shaughnessy through injury was never going to be an easy thing to do, but, you know, there's 4 centre-backs right there in the matchday squad today, so there is depth there. It's just about getting them up to speed, isn't it?
Yeah, and having that quality. You know, Shocks is a very, very good centre-back, so is Regan Paul, and the others are in behind them. But if you're going to pick, you know, if you were going to war to win, you know, a game tonight, Shocks would be in that starting 11, no doubt about it. So you look at that, you look at Regan Poole alongside him, and I think the stats show that, you know, when those two are playing, we're pretty formidable, really.
Yeah.
And just also on that, you can't have enough centre halves. You'll know that as well. In any team, you can't have too many centre halves around the building, because if you're weak at centre half, weak in goal, you're really up against it there, because you look really vulnerable and likely to concede goals, and you know it's going to be tough.
That's what happened when we were in there, and this donut got his cheek done and Jack done his knee, and we didn't have anyone to cover him.
There we go. The first time the word donut's been used as an insult up here. Talking of injuries, let's have a quick update then. Jacob Farrell and Harvey Blair, they're in and out of training at the moment, still not ready for selection tonight, but Nico Schmid, Callum Lang and Adrian Segacic are all in contention to be available after the international break. And Robbo, first game coming up on the other side of the international break is Millwall.
Yeah, I won't be feeding that back at all.
But I wonder if you could now talk us through today's opposition. Should we have a look at Wrexham and how they line up? I believe you're not really going to change too much after seeing off the league leaders and the previously undefeated Coventry, are you?
No, that's right. Obviously, Friday night's performance was really a strong one. But Phil Parkinson's gone with the same team there. He likes his three at the back. He probably made a slight tactical change earlier in the season. It was more a 5-3-2. It was a little bit more attacking, but you saw the amount of goals in those first 5-6 games for Wrexham. Scored and conceded. I think he then sort of adapted it slightly to the division. So at times they played like a 3-4-2-1. Even at times they played a 3-5-1-1, just to make sure that they're more solid and deal with the attacking threats from other teams. But if you look at it there, you see the back three there with Cleworth, Scar and Hyam, Kabori right wing back, Kasicha left wing back, and you've got Sheaf and James just in front of that, and then how he organises O'Brien, Windass and Moore. Obviously Moore's going to be the front man, the lone front man, whether Windass is up a bit further alongside him or just playing that slightly deeper role. I think that probably we'll see that as the game starts out. But if you look at it there as well, we're talking about strength in depth. I was just wondering tonight whether Callum Doyle will come back in. They paid $7.5 million from him to sign him from Man City. The sort of strength on their bench, Broadhead as well, 8 to 10 million, wasn't it? The strength in depth and the power that they bring, it just shows you really the level that we're at.
Yeah, Broadhead getting a call up for the Wales squad today alongside Kiefer Moore as well, so that depth is well and truly there, isn't it? Another player I want to mention on their bench is Ryan Hardy, signed from Plymouth. He does like a goal against Pompey, it has to be said. In 7 games against Pompey, he scored 5 goals. He does enjoy it here.
Yeah, he does enjoy it here. Like you said, I think it was a couple last season, wasn't it, on that sort of Wednesday night? I think they'd had a good home result of the weekend, Portsmouth on the Saturday, and then lost that disappointingly to Plymouth on the Wednesday night. But listen, he's a good striker. I think he perhaps maybe lacks a touch of pace, which is maybe why that teams have looked at him in the past and haven't taken him. But Wrexham have taken him. He does offer a threat, does offer movement, really good movement in behind. And like I say, if he's sort of third choice striker for them, it shows where they're at.
Yes, we discussed our centre-backs. Let's compare 2 of them now. We're going to compare Regan Poole to Wrexham's Max Cleworth. He's their longest-serving player tonight, making his 115th appearance. Robbo, similar on paper, but where are the differences between them?
I think obviously if you can look at the similarities, but I think probably the real key one there is the assists, which is, as centre-halves, you look at that, you want them to be strong in both boxes, defend your box really well, but then also be a threat in the attacking box. And obviously there he's got 3 assists, and that puts him up there with the most assists in the team, alongside Kabore, and Windass as well. So the 2 of them were both on, the 3 of them were both on 3 assists. So I think for me as well, you'll also see that with Wrexham they play the 3 at the back normally, or the 5 at the back, and the defensive clearances, you can see the difference there between Regan Poole having done 96 and Cleworth having done 61. And I think that just shows how they spread the load amongst the 3 of them and the 5 of them. And yeah, I just think as a young lad, he's 23 now, but like you say, he's risen up the divisions with Wrexham, and they brought in the likes of Connor Cody and obviously Callum Doyle, but he's kept them out of the team, which shows you how well he's done and also how much faith Phil Parkinson's got in him.
Yeah, and just one more then, we're going to discuss the managers now, or the head coaches, John Mousinho and Phil Parkinson. You wouldn't want to be that 4th official tonight, would you?
Well, he's in between them, so he's got a job to do. No, look, I know Parky from being on coaching courses with him, and he's a great lad, very, very intense, very good motivator, and a good coach as well along with it. You don't become like he has, rising up the leagues without being a good coach, good motivator, but also having a good staff around him. Now, Wrexham have done it really, really well. They've got Les Reed in there, who's the old FA technical director. They've gone around it in the right way of appointing good people at the top that then can filter things down where they've been at really good clubs, and they can use some of that experience. So Yeah, look, Park is doing a great job. John Mousinho, up until the last couple of weeks, has been doing a great job. They've both taken teams from the League One into the Championship, and now we've got a battle against them tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing who comes out on top.
Yes, we all are. So we've heard from the head coach, we've heard from these two up here, but what do you make of the lineups today? Also, let us know your score predictions. How do you think it's going to go today? It's going to be a tasty one. Get in touch via WhatsApp 07457 413 694. We can't take your calls, but send us everything else, your messages, your pictures, your videos and voice notes. You can also scan the QR code on screen, and it's at Pompey on X. So still plenty to discuss here at Fratton Park, but we're going to take you to Wesley Park now, where on Sunday Pompey women produced a powerful performance against Palace to pick up 3 crucial points in the WSL2.
Palace have got bodies forward here. The cross towards the near post, and Gray can't bring it under control. It's hacked away. Only as far as Napier. Napier gets a shot away. Oh, crashes off the crossbar. What an effort by Jamie Lee Napier. Hornby it is. Goes for a similar, loops it up. Oh, and it's lost by Yanez. Nixon with the chance to scramble home. Angelina Nixon, she won the free kick. And she's eventually the player to turn it over the line to give Portsmouth a priceless lead. Angelina Nixon with her second goal of the season. Portsmouth fans in delight. Now it's Blanchard for Palace. Feeds it through to Veerden. Veerden back to Blanchard. Blanchard turns, gets the shot away, and it's into the back of the net. Oh, and there could be an opportunity here. Right to the final death. And Portsmouth has stolen what might be a late winner. Jessie Gale on loan for Arsenal with her first goal for the club. Ella Rutherford playing a real part in the goal. And there goes the final whistle from Lisa Benn, and Portsmouth and Jay Sadler celebrate only their second win of the season. They kicked off bottom of WSL2. They found themselves in the familiar position of going ahead. Palace pegged them back just before half-time, but this time there was to be no late collapse from Jay Sadler, because Jessie Gale there in the centre of shot, and Ella Rutherford, her fellow substitute. Rutherford did so well with a quick free kick, and Jessie Gale on loan for the season from Arsenal with the calmest and coolest of finishes.
It was a massive performance from every single player, not only the ones who started the game. We knew we were going to need players to come off the bench and impact it, and we've been talking for weeks and weeks around the fact we haven't had them available to us. Today we had them available. They've combined at the end and got the winning goal, and I thought right from the first whistle to the end, I thought we were superb today and thoroughly deserved the win.
And that win for Pompey women lifts them from the bottom of the WSL2. And next up on Sunday, they head to the northeast, where they'll face Sunderland. Right then, Michael Eisner has enjoyed a career in Hollywood for well over 50 years now. But of course, these days, he's the chairman of Portsmouth Football Club. And he dropped by earlier for a little chat. And I started off by asking him how it feels to be back at Fratton Park.
I love being back here, and Fratton Park is fantastic. I actually went to the Tottenham game last night, which is a great stadium and very effective, and the food and all. It doesn't have this fabulous feeling of history and beauty and uniqueness. So I'm very happy to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here, and you've now been chairman for 8 years. So what kind of standout moments are there for you over that period?
Feels like 8 minutes. When we win, it's a standout moment. When we lose, it ruins the weekend. No, I think we've had some great moments, and all of the work we've done behind the scenes, which we don't talk about very much, has been fun to renovate this stadium, to bring it back into a contemporary usage, to rebuild this stand, the Milton End. All those things add up to a great experience. And one thing I enjoyed doing off the pitch was making it a great experience. The fan zone, which we'll be walking in a little later, just makes it exciting to be here. And we're still working on that.
Well, this is it. You've run huge media companies, you've owned sports teams before, but football is a completely different world, isn't it? So what's been the biggest surprise to you, and what have been the biggest challenges since becoming the owner of Portsmouth Football Club?
Well, it's not other people's money, let's put it that way. So every time I get a call from Andrew, please open a bank account. At Disney, I would say to the treasurer of Disney, oh, please open a bank account. And of course, Disney or Paramount or ABC were very profitable even before I got there. So running a company in a pyramid, a football pyramid that needs work, beyond what's on the pitch, is a challenge. Interesting challenge, a new business challenge for me, but there are a lot of similarities.
Yeah, and you're continuing to make a significant investment in the stadium, as we just discussed, the training ground, all the facilities as well. How important is it to do that for everybody involved at the club, the fans, the coaches and the players as well?
It's unbelievably important. I believe, yes, the number one thing is to win, but I believe if you have an environment that is pleasant, even if you lose, it's not the end of the world. So it is very, very important. It is a challenge because every time you put a pound in a kiosk, it's a pound that doesn't go for a player. So you say, well, we really need the player, but if you don't have the kiosk, that's not good either. So you have to weigh both ends of the business.
So turning to the pitch then, John Mousinho and the team, they've come a long way since he was appointed in January 2023. How pleased are you with the progress this season, despite a few tough results recently?
I think John and Rich Hughes are a breath of fresh air. They're both relatively young. They're both enthusiastic. They're both very knowledgeable. We deal with them and talk to them all the time. They're very accommodating with our stupid questions. Soccer in the U.S. is not what football is here. I can tell you anything you want to know about baseball, football, basketball, hockey, all of which I played or my kids played. Soccer, we're learning. The moving offsides, all those things. But it's fun, and after 8 years, we probably know half the rules.
Well, that's good. You're making
progress.
We're
getting there.
In that 8 years, though, you've spent a lot of time in the city. You've met a lot of people from the city. What is it about the city that makes the club so special and the people that you've met?
Well, I come from an island city, Manhattan. There's an excitement and a feeling of place here, which I think is great. The fans and just the people that live here, besides those that are interested in the team, are fantastic. We spent a lot of time working with Pompey in the community, with 6 or 7 other nonprofits. It's similar than any city. There are a lot of needs and a lot of interest. I enjoy reading the newspaper more than the New York Times because it's very specific, mostly about the team. So I like the idea. I didn't know that Pompey was an island city when we were looking for a team in England. We looked at a lot of teams, and when we came here, my son Eric, who's here, said, Dad, it's this team or none. You can't keep looking. And it was clear. Mark Kaplan was here running a team owned by the fans with no money, doing a great job. We now have, we own it. Andrew Cullen is fantastic, really excellent, could be a CEO anywhere. So the weight is off our back on a day-to-day basis. So things are pretty good.
So for the fans back home, even after the tough games, we saw last week they support the team, the boys, all the way through to the final whistle. They're there week in, week out, travelling the country, filling out the away ends. They're here, packing out Fratton Park for the home games. What would you like to say to those fans?
They're amazing. I, on the other hand, was on the floor and upset. So the fact that they were still here till the last whistle, hoping that 4-0 could be 5-4 or something, was amazing. So it was It was a challenge watching them. I think tonight will be a big improvement, I hope. Wrexham is it's interesting. We were there before Wrexham, but I decided, we're Hollywood. We're not going to push the Hollywood thing. We're not going to push the documentary. We're going to be professional, sporting people. Meanwhile, movie stars can get away with anything.
Yeah.
And they did a great job in finding a team in the middle of nowhere. And look, we're playing them tonight here at Fratton Park.
We also get messages here on the show every single week from fans watching who can't be at the game. They live a little further away, shall we say. They're watching at 2 a.m. in Australia. Like you mentioned earlier, you're one of the people that like to watch it at 4 a.m. sometimes.
No, I don't like to watch it at 4 a.m. I do watch it at 4 a.m.
But there are fans that genuinely enjoy this week in, week out. They get up for it. They set their alarms by it. What would you like to say to those fans? Because they're integral to what we're doing here as well, aren't they?
Well, not only do you have to watch it at 2 a.m. in Australia, but you have to start at 1:30 to see your show. So I'm setting an alarm and saying, well, it starts at 4:30, but I got to be there at 4. I got to watch you. So they're very loyal. They're probably from Portsmouth or around here. And it's part of going home. So I appreciate them watching. I hope we're giving them a good show. The production compared to 8 years ago, with the number of cameras, the instant replay, the close-ups, the master shot, and then your before, middle, and after the game, it's a real professional experience. It's no different than watching, the New York Giants play the Los Angeles Rams, as far as production is concerned. So it's very, very well done.
Thank you very much. Also today, you can see we're both wearing poppies. Now there's going to be a remembrance ceremony, a reflaying ceremony before the game as well. It's going to be quite the occasion. What does the period of remembrance mean to you personally, being attached to a club with such strong military ties?
It is amazing because people forget. I mean, I was only, I don't know, at the end of the war, 3 years old or something. They've moved on. But to honor... And there is a lot of that still in the U.S., but Britain they really were up against the wall. I mean, it was doomsday for them. So to come through it, to have Churchill convince Roosevelt to send some ships and then finally troops, it's pretty amazing. When we were doing Disneyland Paris, there was a lot of nervousness about American culture coming to Paris. And when there was an affair at the Élysée Palace, the Prime Minister and the President talked about the fields of cemeteries of American soldiers that helped win the war. It was pretty moving. And the same thing is true in the UK and other places in Europe.
So there's a late kickoff here tonight. The roar we're going to hear and experience in a couple of hours' time. It's like nothing I've witnessed elsewhere. How does it feel to you still 8 years in?
One of the things that Eric said, it's now or never. This is the club. We saw 8 or 9 clubs all over the world, but mostly in the UK. Decided the UK and the Pyramid was the right place to be. And I couldn't believe it. I kept saying, first of all, I still don't understand what they're saying, other than Blue Army. I kept saying to Mark, what are they saying? It was really amazing. The only thing similar that I can think of is the Final Four NCAA basketball tournament. And that is the only, and I've been to many, many sporting events, baseball and otherwise. This is unique. And last night, the away fans at Tottenham were out singing, the Tottenham fans. There's a different environment here than I think in most of the other stadiums. Now, of course, there's 60,000 people there, so it's not quite as intimate as we have. And they're further back. One thing great about Fratton Park, it's historically grandfathered in, and so you're real close to the pitch, which changes everything. And the noise, there was some talk 8 years ago about building a new stadium, one of those cement mausoleum type things, which we never wanted to do. And I think everybody now...
That'll be firework night
right,
there, yep.
Everybody... I've never quite understood what is it called? Tonight, not the armistice night. This night. It's what is the name of the
Guy Fawkes night.
Yeah, he was in the bottom of Parliament and he was blowing it up. Or I don't know. It's a British thing.
Yeah,
but
I still don't quite understand it myself, to be honest.
People celebrate it, I guess, with fireworks.
Exactly that, and the fans are going to make themselves heard louder than the fireworks tonight. They're going to be out there making themselves count. Pompey coming onto this off the back of 3 defeats in a row. Wrexham have just beaten the previously undefeated Coventry at that point. But it's anyone's game, as is always the way in the Championship. So before you go, can I get a quick score prediction from you, please?
10-1. Our favour.
There we go. We'll certainly take that. 10-1. You heard it here first. Thank you very much for your time, Michael, and enjoy the game. And I enjoy celebrating those 10 goals with you later.
Well, thank you for talking to me.
So there we go. An 11-goal thriller expected this evening. Michael Eisner chatting with me on the balcony earlier on today. Now, meetings between Pompey and Wrexham over the years have been pretty rare. So, Robbo, Hards, we've thrown together a pub quiz question for you. Just one question. So there's not too much pressure on this, but the last time Pompey and Wrexham met in a league game, when was that? Don't answer it just yet. I'll give you some clues, right? So, it was the same year that the first computer mouse was released. Star Wars The Return of the Jedi was the blockbuster hit at the time, and Michael Jackson was dominating the charts with Thriller.
Oh, no, exactly, yeah. It's got a bit of an advantage here. What's going on?
Well, we're just testing your research before we're going into that. Before we're going into that, guys.
I know roughly.
You know.
You know roughly, okay.
Yeah.
I've got one more clue for you that might help you get there fully. How does that sound? This was our home shirt, and the Blues stormed to the top of Division 3, as it was then. Come on then, should we have an answer? What do we reckon?
1980.
76.
81 season it was.
It was 1983.
83?
It was the 1982-83 season.
It wasn't Gola. It wasn't Gola, the kit. You got it wrong.
Apparently, in my year, they're telling me it was.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, you can see on the programme there, yeah, 83, yeah.
So, Pompey and the Red Dragons, the date was the 29th of January 1983. That season, the Blues topped the table and won promotion in epic style. We'll bring that to you in just a moment, but it was definitely 1983.
Yeah, it
we
was.
can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah,
we won 3-0 at home. Alan Biley scored 2. Mick Tate got the other. And we won 2-0 away. Alan Biley and Billy Rafferty scored on that one.
I was in the youth team that season.
So there we go.
I was
what we're
going
to do now is have a look at some highlights from that season.
We'll be looking back at some of the highs and lows for Portsmouth Football Club. We'll start back in early 1983, when Portsmouth were lying 4th in the 3rd division.
Back to Rafferty, who's gone past the fullback. And he's gone all the way and scored a wonderful goal. That really was a superb goal.
1 month later, and Pompey's winning streak continued. This win at Bournemouth took them to the top of the table.
And now Rodgers goes over a foot, and that is a penalty. Effernan's outstretched foot. Rodgers goes over. Well, there really can't be much doubt about that. The responsibility devolved on Steve Hazelwood, and he has actually scored 4 times from the spot. And now 5. Rodgers now swinging it in, and in goes the goal. Alan Biley celebrates his birthday with his 20th goal of the season.
By March, the fans at Fratton Park were getting used to seeing their team win. Pompey won 27 games that season.
It crossed to the near post and a brave header by Biley. Waving to the corner, and the referee responds. Outswinger this time, and the header is in. Biley got the last touch. I think it was probably, it was certainly put over the line in the end by Biley, who's injured. Change of tactics here with an outswinging corner for the first time taken by McLaughlin. Tate's header was a good one, and suspect it wasn't in until Bailey got his header and was kicked at the same time.
Alan Bailey soon recovered. He scored 22 league goals that season. Promotion to Division 2 was clinched against Southend.
He didn't get it, but Dylan did! Goalkeeper's mistake, punished emphatically by Kevin Dillon. Corner in swinging but deep, and Corsten under pressure couldn't hold it, and Dillon smashes it in. And here's the next corner, and there's Bailey! There's a gap in the smile, but the sentiments are plain. And there's the whistle, and here comes the stampede. At Fratton Park, the glory days are back. After 7 years, Portsmouth are heading once again for the second division. It's going to be a long night of celebration here at Portsmouth.
So there we go, great memories. But hopefully the current crop of players didn't celebrate in the bath together when winning promotion to the Championship a couple of seasons ago. Anyway, just less than 15 minutes to go, guys. We're going to put everything that happened previously last week to bed now. Full focus is on today, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We just had a quick look, so we can update the viewers. It does look like Paul, Paul's going to be playing right back. Knight, Boat, and Ogilvie as a back four. So yeah, let's get this game underway. We've got to put that Birmingham result to bed and get a great result tonight. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's no secret our home form hasn't quite been the same as last season. It hasn't quite been that fortress. John Mousinho has put this down to us being a bit too cautious at home. We need a dominant, fast start tonight, don't we?
Well, that's what he's demanding from his players, and that's what he expects. Like you say, I think he's admitted really with his team selection that wasn't quite right at the weekend. Now he's throwing players out there tonight to say, go on, put in a really good performance, get this crowd on side. And, Wrexham as well, it's the kind of one that, the fans turn up, a bit of excitement in the air, a bit of a story behind them. So I'm sure that, the players on the pitch will translate that into a really positive performance.
Yeah, hard. 6 of Pompey's conceded goals this season have come from set pieces. 3 of those, as we know, Saturday alone. So obviously John Mousinho's been keeping an eye on this in training throughout the week, and something we'll be keeping an eye on today as well.
Yeah, and you can't dismiss set plays, can you, these days? Teams work on them for hours during the week. At the end of sessions, even afternoon sessions, they'll be working on them. So, it's a big part of the game. Arsenal are very, very good at it in the Premier League. Their goal record from it is superb, and other teams are starting to catch on. The long throws coming back, people are anti it, people are pro it. So, yeah, look, it's a big thing, and Pompey didn't do their jobs. We talked about it at the end of the game Saturday, George. Did not do our jobs at set plays.
So we have it on good authority that Phil Parkinson was actually at St Andrews on Saturday. So what would he have made of that? And surely you've seen enough of Pompey before that and after that to know that that's not going to happen again anytime soon.
Yeah, that's right, and I'm sure he would have looked at the Middlesbrough game here, the Portsmouth home games. He knows coming here to Fratton Park is a different proposition, and like you said as well, it's a totally different team that his side's facing tonight as well. 7 changes, like we said. He'll know it'll be a different atmosphere, he'll know that the crowd will be right up for it, but not only that, the players here as well. They like playing here at Fratton Park, and his team will have to be right at it tonight. And I think that we saw in their home performance against Coventry, and they'll be really reiterating to his players, don't come here tonight and underestimate them, because you'll come unstuck.
So we've already had a 10-1 prediction. We're going to have your 2 predictions in just a moment. To the socials, William says, I know how Michael Eisner feels. I'm up at 5:30 a.m. in the USA sometimes. William, you're putting the hours in, mate. And Danny says, cheering on from Bahrain. Good to have you, Danny. And Cameron saying, happy with the lineup. So, guys, we've had a 10-1 for Michael Eisner. Paul Heineman, what are you saying?
Well, I'm not going to go quite that high, but I'm going for a Pompey win, obviously. I'm going 2-1 Pompey.
A 2-1 Pompey.
Yeah, I was going to go the same, but I'll go a 1-1 draw tonight, I think.
A 2-1 and a 1-1 draw. OK, so if that happens tonight, then where are the goals coming from? Are we going to see Colby back firing again on all cylinders?
Well, I've got to be honest, the little man's got to pop up tonight. I'm really confident Connor's going to score, and I'm hoping that Josh is going to put one on Colby's head and we can go, there's the 2 goals.
Yeah, and having Josh Murphy, you just feel that attacking threat is going to Well, it's going to expand today, isn't it? There's going to be more of it. We're going to see a lot more balls being pumped into the box because that's what he does.
Yeah, exactly. Not only Josh Murphy in the attacking threat that he offers, it just seems to bring out something extra in Colby Bishop as well, doesn't it? That partnership, you know, really came to fruition last year. They've got that real good chemistry between them, and I think both of them will have a lift from seeing each other on the pitch here tonight.
Yeah, and if Connor Chaplin does get on the score sheet tonight, what will that do for him going forward?
It's massive for him personally, but for the club and everything moving forward, it's got to happen soon. And you know, playing him, I would like to think in the 10 tonight, right behind Colby, that will help him. If not, if he's on that right-hand side, I want to see him being really positive. I want to see him cutting in, as we used to coach him, cutting in, using that left foot and whipping those shots in and scoring like that.
And if Wrexham were to get on the score sheet tonight, we're going to look at Kiefer Moore because he's their number 9. We know he knows where the back of the net is, scoring a hat-trick very recently. How do you keep Kiefer Moore quiet?
I think you've got to win your aerial battle, and also for me, I think the thing is with him, you know he's a real big threat, you know he's going to win his fair share of headers, so the biggest thing you have to try and do is stop that service to him, stop the supply to him, stop balls in your box, but the odd one that does come in there, you've got to defend really well. Not only that, like Hard said as well, it's not only the service into him and his direct headers, it's then players running off him, so making sure you're tracking runners, and just alive to those first, second, third balls that will drop in and around your penalty area.
So we're still waiting for the players to come out, but just a heads up, tonight Fratton Park will be remembering all of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their country. So there's going to be a short ceremony before the game. We're going to hear the last post, and we're also, what else is happening? Representatives from each club. And Warrant Officer Mark Wern of the Armed Forces will be laying wreaths before a video in the stadium of the late great John Jenkins reciting a passage from Lawrence Binion's For the Fallen. So a traditional rendition of the last post, and a minute's silence will take place after that. But as the atmosphere rises in Portsmouth and things get louder, the players are coming out. So let's take it to the pitch as the Pompey chimes ring out across PO4. So we're going to now see some wreaths being laid on the Fratton Park pitch. We're looking at Marlon Pack, Dominic Hyer, Michael Eisner, Sean Harvey, the Wrexham CEO, and Mark Wern, part of the Armed Forces for 34 years. A lifelong Pompey fan and a season ticket holder in the Fratton end. So Robbo, you've been a club captain yourself. I mean, this duty, always a great honour.
Yeah, an absolute honour. Like you say, and you really feel that emotion as well in that moment. You don't really sort of prepare yourself for it, and then you're sort of walking out and feel it. It's a really powerful feeling.
Okay, so let's see the wreaths being laid.
And here our left gold, I shall not lose them, nor the ends condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We now ask everyone to join us and pay their respects in a period of silence that will begin and end on the referee's whistle. Please remain silent after the last post has been played and do not clap until the referee blows his second whistle. Thank you.
Fratton Park remembering those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, joined on the pitch by those who have served their country. Always an incredibly moving moment. Pompey versus Wrexham is about to kick off. If you're watching us on social media, your coverage ends here. But match passes are available on the Pompey Plus website. Coverage all depends on your region. We'll be back at half-time, but right now, John Mousinho's men take on Wrexham.